This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. This the link up. This the link up. This the link up. Welcome to the link up. Oh. Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Link Up Podcast with your host. Today, we just got Mistuh King and Rashid here in the building.
Yes.
Today is a little bit of a different experience. It's New Year's Eve and whatnot, so people kind of busy today. It was a somewhat last minute kind of episode that, yeah, we just put it together and whatnot. Everybody couldn't make it, so it's just me and Rashid. But at least we got a special guest here in the building. Indeed. Somebody who's been in conversation with coming up on the Link Up Podcast for quite a bit, but wanted to wait a little bit to feel to build up a little bit more of a reason to actually be here and have something to talk about and all of that. So today, after some amount of time and planning and preparation and leaving the country and all kind of stuff and coming back, making time to come see us, we got DJ Stov in the building here.
Yes, sir. It was good, guys. It's nice to be here. Good to be here.
Finally,
like Gary said, it's finally come to fruition in a way. I do remember 2.5 years ago when I was interviewing Gary for my thesis. I remember you expressing the idea of the concept of Link Up and how you'd like to start it and stuff like that. And man, here we are now, 2.5 years later, on the last day of 2019. 104 episodes deep.
Right before the new decade.
Right before the new decade. And man, I gotta commend you, man. You're doing good. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It seemed like a lot of congratulations and recognition been given to the Link Up in recent times, so definitely appreciate it. It seemed like people think it's a real big accomplishment that we did this. We reached 100 episodes and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect us to be here necessarily. I didn't know how long we was going to keep up doing this or whatever, but we still going strong. It's still appreciated.
For sure.
And as well, at the time we was talking about you and your interest in podcasts as well. I think that was one of the first conversations we had.
Yeah.
And now you're actually on a podcast.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't go through with your own.
I didn't go through with my own. Although it's funny that you say that because I did sort of drop a concept to start back home, but since it's not completely finished yet, I can't say too much about it. I can't say too much about it. So, but yeah, you're right about that one. I guess I've been too busy doing my own thing. It's mainly been DJing these last 2 years. So.
All right. So before we get to the DJing, let's get into a little background on who the real person is. Cass, you want to put the government name out there, the non-DJ Stove name.
Oh no.
So tell us a little bit about who you are. You mentioned your thesis and stuff. I guess let's start there. You came up to Holland to study. What were you studying while you was up here?
Right. I was studying international business administration. So I graduated from MPC in 2013, yeah. I came up here. I did a bachelor in Enschede, basically the middle of nowhere, if you will. But it's like at the east. It's like the east of Holland, 10 minutes away from the border of Germany. So I was doing international business. It's called bedrijfskunde in het Nederlands, and I finished on time and shit. And then I said,
accomplishments.
Thanks, appreciate it. I finished, and then I thought, man, I can't stay in Enschede because it's way too quiet, and it wasn't the type of urban scene that I was craving. So then I took the decision to do a master in Rotterdam by the Erasmus. I did organizational change and consultancy. That master was 1 year. I finished that too on time by some miracle. I
felt like there was more struggle with the master.
Yeah, definitely. Like the last 6 months, I was struggling, but I interviewed a bunch of people for my thesis, and that happened to be you. You happened to be one of them.
That was like the first time we met, right? It was like under those circumstances for that.
Absolutely. Like I knew who you were in school and stuff like that. So I thought,
I remember the same thing. Like I knew your name, I had the face, I've seen you around and stuff.
Exactly.
What was your thesis about?
It was about
at the time you was asking me about police brutality, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was about the social media, like the effect of social media on.
And would it be better if they had ways to like report crimes and stuff through the social media pages and Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
how did that turn out? The final thesis and
the final thesis was good.
Recommendations and stuff.
I mean, I got a 7 for it. I was pretty content with a 7 because,
just
to be honest, man, like
get it over with.
Yeah, the interview part was, I gotta say, it was a lot of fun doing interviews with different people, random people, like reaching out to them on Facebook and stuff like that, talking to them either on Skype or actually meeting with them. That was an interesting time. It's only when the writing came out, so the results,
compiling all the information,
the evaluation.
You had to transcribe all those interviews,
bro.
As well.
It was hour-long interviews, bro, and I had to do 20 of them. And yeah, my supervisor was like,
when I have to like write down my lyrics for music and stuff, like my own songs.
Right?
If I gotta like
transcribing that word for word.
Oh man.
So. Yeah, but like if you plug some music in and you can't plug music in when you're transcribing, but if you half the time of the speed that they talk, then it's easier to. So that's a little tip for any of you people that gotta transcribe. But anyway, yeah. So I the last part of the thesis was draining because. It was like the interview part was fun, but it was draining in the terms of I did almost 70% of the writing like a week from before the deadline. So don't be me and don't do that.
Yeah, planning is everything, right? As they say.
Yeah, but even when you plan, it's like the motivation to do it sometimes. Man.
Yeah.
Procrastination, something many of us struggle with.
No one plans for procrastination. It just happens.
Yeah. Some people do. Some people know that, okay, you know what, they're going to say they're going to start working on something early because they know it gives them time to procrastinate, so they don't really have to start, like...
But is that effective, though? Because you already know what you're doing. It's not like you're playing a trick on yourself.
Yeah, but it happens sometimes.
Fair enough.
I don't know. You just give yourself enough time to procrastinate so you can't be lazy because you know yourself. That's kind of what it is. Like, so...
Yeah.
I assume somewhere along there all of that DJing started, or did that start in St. Martin?
Nah, that started definitely when I was up here. It started, I think, around my first year of college in Enschede. I remember 2 instances where I created the interest of DJing, and the first is I went to a good friend of mine in Apeldoorn just to visit her, and she introduced me to her boyfriend at the time, and that happened to be Reggie V.
DJ Blonde.
Exactly. A lot of people know him as Blonde, just Blonde, but Reggie V. And I saw what he was doing because he had old CDJs and a laptop with Serato, and like what he was doing, just cutting it up. I was like, oh, I want to do that. And that was one instance. The other instance, I saw my friend DJ Atom doing his thing in Enschede because he lived pretty close to me, and he had like a controller. And I also found it very interesting how he could have smoothly mixed one song to the next and just keep this ongoing vibe. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, like he's doing it too. It's like, let me buy a controller and
give it a try.
See. And at the time when I was going to house parties and stuff, so that Enschede is like half Dutch, half German, and they used to look at me to like pick out the music being played because they kind of like my taste in music, like the Caribbean scene, it's a bit of everything.
More of a mix.
Exactly. So I was always playing like the music on my phone at the parties, and sometimes I would have downloaded these little apps, these little fake DJ apps that does make the mix to the next. And I was like, I always thought it was interesting. So when I finally made the decision to buy the controller and started practicing, going by Reggie to practice, then it started to really develop.
So you'd say Reggie was definitely like one of your first influences. Him and Atom basically was the
Reggie
first
is
people
sensei,
to get
dog. Yeah.
A mentor.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah,
you probably feel honored to get shout out like that, you know, just seeing him DJ was enough to get you inspired and whatnot to want to pick up the decks yourself and what.
Yeah. Yes.
So what was your first controller? I don't know much about those things, so you'll tell me a name and it'll probably be useless in a way because I have no idea which one you're specifically referring to. But
no problem. At the time, it was the most basic starter controller that you could have picked that matches the best with Serato. Serato is the overall program a lot of DJs use.
Once
Pioneer,
you upgrade past Virtual DJ.
I didn't even touch that. I didn't believe in that, so I didn't even touch Virtual DJ first. I went straight to Serato.
Straight to Serato.
I had Virtual DJ at a point in time
Yeah?
when I was trying to experiment a little bit with that, you know.
I believe I had it too. I had no idea how it worked.
I think it's still probably on my computer, but I don't do that now. I don't do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, continue story.
It was the Pioneer DDJ SB. You know, it's like the most basic one, and then
What's the price range?
$250 at the time. Now they don't even make that model anymore. They have a newer starter one going on, like the SB3. Now we up to the threes.
So what you using now? I assume you upgraded.
I did upgrade, but I gotta say, I still have the starter one, but it's for a next program. It's for Record Box. It's the DDJ 400. It's also from Pioneer. And man,
what do you do with Record Box? What you use that program for? Because this is the first time I'm hearing of that program.
Record Box is a program just like Serato. Only it's the program that is also functioning in the actual CDJs. So these CDJs are really the flagship type of equipment that every club really uses. So you know how DJs come with only their USB and then plug it in? The music has to be registered via Record Box first, and then they can play it on these. So anybody that's playing with Serato almost always has the problem like, yo, I gotta either analyze my music through Record Box, or back then they had this special equipment that is just translate the CDJs to work on Serato with your music analyzed on Serato. So
okay. So it's something that you can use individually, but if you're using Serato, it's basically something that you would need to use as well as okay. But is there a benefit? Is it like better as a DJ thing than Serato?
I wouldn't say it's better. I think that
if you kind of don't need to use go to that extra step potentially like you would with Serato.
Yeah,
there are certain benefits I guess there would be to use in certain situations.
Correct. For me, it's just you just gotta see it as less work or less equipment to make it work. But I mean, I've seen people come with their laptop with Serato to see CDJs, and it's completely fine. Like they've made it even easier now to make the two compatible. So.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So is DJing in like your first year in Enschede, so that's when you start.
Yeah.
And now it's been 2 years. How long has it been?
Yeah, almost. Okay, 2.5 years, almost 3 years, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your proudest moment so far in your DJ career?
Well, it's either between
or before you get there, what's your first paid gig?
Let me just go through the whole your journey,
like from the beginning.
Yeah.
I would say I still remember my first house party. That was in Enschede. That was at a German house party. Shout out to Daniel if he ever gets to see this.
Send him the link.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that was my first gig, just playing for people, and it was received well. My first paid gig, though, that's a really good question. Maybe if I look back through.
Don't remember the first time you got paid for your craft. To me, that's usually like a milestone moment where it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe this might be a real thing. I could consider this as like a little more than just a hobby.
Yeah, but
this
the thing
might
is,
be a legitimate side hustle.
The thing is, I think my first paid gig was also for a party, but that's not registered here. That's the thing. Yeah. No, honestly, I can't recall right now, but it was probably for a next house party, and they were like, you know, we'd like to pay you for it. And I said, okay.
Was there a particular place you DJ'd that you was like, okay, you know what? Now I think I can actually call myself a DJ. Is like, now I'm... Or was there a particular point that you got in your skill set and stuff that you was like, okay, now I'm confident enough to feel good playing for people, or call myself a proper DJ to potentially go play in clubs and stuff like that?
That's a good question. As of recent, I entered a competition. It was the Stoli DJ competition. And that was really like an opportunity that I saw that, okay, I can measure myself to others in a sense, or to the new people that were coming up, you know, as DJs.
This was on Sematin?
This was on Sematin.
I think I remember seeing something about this.
Yeah, this was on Sematin around this summer when my cousin came to visit. Yes, because I remember he helped me edit the video or film the video. Anyhow, it was definitely in the last 4 months. So I entered the competition, and how it worked is you needed to submit a 15-minute video of you DJing and mixing all type of genres. So I did that. As usual, my last-minute ass sent that thing in like 2 minutes before the deadline, of course, because that's who I am. And how they would announce that there would be 4 people to progress to the
finals,
semi-finals, I would say, or the finals, actually, like the national finals for Sematin, and the winner of that would go would actually stay in St. Martin, but there would be 2 other DJs flown in from, I think, the Bahamas and some other place to be the champion of the Stoli
DJ
brand.
Okay. But for something like that, what were they looking at, or what was the judging criteria? Like creativity in a mix, or like
absolutely, it was.
What were they paying attention to?
It was okay.
To get more points for scratching, or if you lose points if you don't scratch, or if your scratching is bad, or like.
That's a good question. Scratching was definitely not really a piece of criteria. Mixing smoothly is the most foundational criteria there was. That was on top, and then of course creativity, especially using as much genres as you could, because they stress that the Stoli DJ that we pick as our champion needs to be like well versed, exactly. And yeah, that was all of the criteria that they presented.
Mix for 15 minutes long, show some creativity, show some personal flavor.
Like show why you would be different from
and stuff like that. Add to it. So like if you DJing backwards and stuff like that, or if you scratching and mixing white with your back turn, and like the show aspects and stuff, were they looking at those type of things as well? That
wasn't a piece of criteria, but I would have enjoyed that. But one last criteria that I did forget about was the type of equipment that you use, man. Which in my opinion, I don't really know why. Because if I feel like if I could do the same things that I can do on a CDJ on the controller, I mean, why should that be a piece of criteria? Just because I use the newest turntables? I don't know. It was a weird. It was a vague.
It does sound weird. CDJ than.
Yeah, it was a vague piece of criteria. Like it was It wasn't very specific.
So
it was
they didn't
like,
want you using controllers, basically.
well, they welcomed me using my controller in the competition, so I don't think
because,
so. But
because of course you want to be judged based on your skill, right?
Yes.
Rather than the equipment you use. So it's kind of like weird to see that the equipment you use is part of the criteria.
Right.
Actually, that's exactly why, to me, the equipment you use would be part of the criteria.
You think so?
Depending on if you have a custom setup, for example, where you have different options set specifically to you, is like something that might make your skill look like it's higher than somebody else. Versus if I don't have a controller that have that button that did whatever trick it was that happened and stuff like that. So I get. From that perspective, if like, okay, we just want a general baseline of have a mixer or fader, like the basic things that all DJ controllers or CDJs would have. To me, something like that is logical in a DJ competition because you don't want to give nobody an unfair advantage potentially. If you don't know what, like if you can't regulate their equipment or what they're using.
Yeah. In my case, I've played on controllers and I've played on turntables before.
Which one you prefer?
Man, controller, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Embracing technology, embracing the modern era.
Yeah, yes. There was actually a whole big conversation about that because you know what? You remember when I was talking a second ago about this Pioneer SB3? The function of discussion that there was a button where you could have pressed and a scratch sound comes out of it, and the farther you press the button, the more advanced the scratch would be heard. And people were like, no, you're replacing scratching, what are you doing, and stuff like that. But then if you know who DJ Jazzy Jeff is, he was like, no, I think it like the function is there to teach people how to replicate the scratch so they can be better at scratching, not that they are in the club and they press the button and they make it look like they're scratching. That was the point he was trying to. But of course, you're going to have people like that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand his point of view and I understand their point of view.
I mean, it's the same thing that you hear artists talking about in general. Like, just the transition with a lot of audio technology, the fact that changed a lot and became a lot cheaper and just everybody can get it accessed in your house. And like, there's always the digital versus analog discussions where some people feel like the sound, the warmth that you get with analog recordings actually on tape and stuff like that in the big studios is different than everything is just in-house in a laptop and whatnot. It's cold, it's dry, it feels like it don't have the same warmth and organic feel to it that it does when you're using analog stuff. Or you would hear the discussions with more in your field with the DJs who hating on the young people because they never had to carry crates and stuff like that. They ain't had to have all the records walk around. They just got, like you say, a USB stick. That's all you need sometimes. If the place already got, you don't even got to walk with your turntable. So, you know, like, there'll always be that kind of back and forth with that digital versus analog.
I tell you what, like a discussion that's been there forever is when the sync button came into play. Now the sync button, what it does...
You don't even need to match up the record. It just automatically gets the auto-detect the tempo.
Yes, you don't have to adjust the BPM and you don't have to adjust to when you're mixing so that there's a smooth
shit
mix.
Like that, I definitely could understand why I'd be like, yo, this taking away all the skill that's needed to be a DJ. Like,
absolutely.
And I guess that adds to the point of why you would require specific equipment in the criteria.
And on the other hand... I do understand when people use sync, but like when actual DJs use sync, when they mix in very, very fast, because maybe the mix is so fast that you don't have time to adjust. The window is so small. And I understand their point of view too. Like they use it as a tool. They don't use it
as a crutch.
As a
crutch. Indeed. They don't use it to take advantage of, But
yeah, that's always the thing. Is like a tool, and it's all about how you use it.
It's all about how you
use your powers for good or evil.
Exactly. Couldn't say it better, actually.
Yeah.
Spider-Man quotes and things. With great power comes great responsibility.
Always.
It's a legendary quote.
Yeah, for sure.
Can be used in many situations.
Have used it in many situations as well. How did the competition end up? How did it conclude?
All right. Yeah.
Where did you place and stuff?
I placed third. I placed third.
Congrats, I guess.
Yeah. Thanks. First competition too, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, it was my first competition. I don't know how much people submitted a video, but it was like they posted the flyer like a month from before, and anybody that sent a video could have entered. And I heard it was a lot of submissions. Like I said, how they found out that you would have progressed, because 4 people could have progressed to the finals. DJ Outkast would announce it on Laser 101.
Okay.
So they sent us, all of the people that submitted a video was sent back an email like, this is the date where Outkast announces,
so make sure
who's going to go through. And I tuned in. And I think they named 2 people before me. I think I was the 3rd person that he called out. But I was just listening to him on Laser 101. And then he was like, okay, I'm about to call the next person. And then my phone rang. And I was like, whoa, that moment was crazy. That moment was crazy, for real. And I ran outside my door. I was like, Pops, Pops, like we in the shit. We in the shit, Pops. And that's how I knew I entered the finals.
But to kind of go back to another slight question I'd ask, like,
sure.
Was there any moment, was that one of the moments that gave you that confidence that was like, yeah, this thing could really be like, you could really do this DJ thing? Or did those moments come early on and like some of the house parties you said from there, and seeing how those went is like, okay, extra battery in your back to continue, and just kind of extra reassurance to let you know that, okay, you're on the right path?
Correct. I mean, to be honest, I've had that moment a lot where it's just a confirming feeling like this is going well. We should keep at it. I must say I never really felt a feeling where I'm like, oh shit, I made it, or like, oh shit, like I'm the greatest. No, but it's always like, okay, this happened, now we can make something else happen, I do tell you what we did, me and DJ Atom, and also shout out to Tyrell, the 3 of us, we noticed that there was a lack of real urban type of music. So when I say urban, dancehall, hip-hop, music going on in Enschede. If you've ever been to Enschede, you know exactly what the hell I mean.
I wanted to ask you more about that, the Enschede scene and what it's like over there, because I ain't never been.
Because we made a party ourselves, and we called it Reverb. And so we started, the first party we started on campus, and we was making flyers, promoting the shit. And the first one went very well, and we wanted to, it was kind of like, we wanted to make an encore in Enschede.
Okay. I feel
to paint a picture for you. We had 5 editions. Some went well, some we barely broke even. That's how business goes. And the 5th edition was the last one, and I remember we had to cut it because, well, I was moving back to Simati, and Atom was moving to Eindhoven. Tyrell was also about to graduate, so it was like,
now
let's
the scene in shambles.
let's
quiet over there.
Since y'all leave, it's like,
silent.
Who gonna bring the music now?
Yeah, but it was fun times organizing that stuff, man. Like, really. Yeah.
So how much, like, what was the most successful one? I guess it's just an estimate to gauge the size of the parties, like how many people, more or less, on one of the successful reverbs.
One edition we organized it for 2 houses, so it was like it's a house with maybe like 2-3 for deeping, and it was 2 of them. So I think you could have stuffed 150 people in one house, and then maybe like 100 added to the second one, and that was an interesting evening.
Okay. So to go back to another question that I asked already, but we got kind of off on a tangent, as usually happens on the link up.
Yeah.
Proudest moments for you personally as a DJ? I guess obviously the competition.
The contest. Reverb, I'm really proud about. One moment that I'm proud about, but that wasn't really about me, is shout out to my boy Denzel Brown. I used to be his DJ when I was living here.
Dude we had on the podcast
Denzel
from
Brown
Aruba
was here on the podcast, yeah.
Soca dude?
Exactly.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Didn't know you.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I met him through doing a party in Arnhem for a student association there. And he needed a DJ, and we linked up, and we matched so well, you know, because we always practice a set from before we do it, because we want everything to go smooth. And one event that I was proud about is they booked him for Soca versus Dancehall. And I was on stage with him doing his set. And even though it's not about me, I was proud, like, oh gosh, we get on the stage as nice as Soca versus Dancehall. So, yeah, that was also a moment I was proud of.
Is that something that you would see yourself, like, wanting to do more? Like, would you, like, how would you feel if you were a resident artist DJ or something like that? Or would you more prefer to be a club, like that kind of vibe, doing events versus being, like, going on tour with an artist and being their DJ or something like that?
It's a really tough decision that you need to do for yourself, because if you're a busy DJ and you're creating your own name, I don't believe you can be an artist's DJ, because you need to be committed to the artist. You need to be there for the artist when he says, hey, we got a date for this and that and this. And I thank God I was able to balance that when I was here with Denzel, and we never really had a problem. Like, I never really told him, yo, I can't do this and that, you know. Every time he said, yo, I need you for this, it's like, okay, cool, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And it was fine. But when you're busy DJ, I don't think it'll work out like that.
But let's say you find, like, a relative, like a more, not to throw no shade at Denzel, but I mean a bigger name artist, somebody that's, like, touring worldwide and stuff like that. Would you see a life like that as something you could enjoy? Just being like, yes, you know, because let's assume they're paying you a significant enough amount that's like, okay, it makes up for whatever shows that you might be missing if you just DJing in Holland or in Simatana or wherever you're at the time. Yeah. Like, they compensate you enough so that you really mind missing out on that. Do you see that the tour life, or just being an artist DJ, the type of DJ that, could you see yourself being happy doing something like that?
It's a really good question. I haven't really thought about it, but I tell you what, I've seen. I feel like for a DJ, it can be a phase. If you decide, hey, this is a great opportunity. This artist, I believe in this artist. This artist is doing good. I'll be his DJ for 1 or 2 years, and maybe I stay or maybe I move on. And then do my own thing, because I've seen, like, I researched it, and I saw the DJ for Kanye West at one point was DJ Craze, and DJ Craze, like, for anybody who knows DJ Craze, like, DJ Craze is like the scratch god. Like, this man is like 3-time DMC world champion and stuff like that. And he also made the decision
for us
to
non-DJ
for
people, DMC is what?
DMC?
DJ Mag competition? You say 3-time DMC, I have no idea what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know the off-court thing, but it's like the most technical turntablist type of DJ competition in the world. And he won 3 times.
True.
And what was I gonna say? Yeah, he took the decision to be Kanye's DJ for a specific amount of time, and he's his own thing himself. So I feel like it can be a phase, you know?
Because I remember, I think it's Akon DJ or something. I was used to be on Martin. I don't remember. I can't remember the dude's name right now. But there's a couple people that, like, every time they would introduce this dude on a bill or on a flyer or whatever, it's like, yeah, you know, I always mention the fact that he was whichever celebrity it was DJ. Like, I think there's an interesting accolade or, like, extra notch to put on your belt as a DJ type of thing.
To add to the
resume.
Yeah.
That's also how I look at it. It could
and
be
you could
something.
kind of say like, yeah, you know, I've played for this amount of people opening for him, or at least warming up for their sets or whatever and stuff like that. Things like that help to say like, yeah, at least I rocked this many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to see if I could think of any more DJ questions.
But it's actually interesting that you say that, because if an artist DJ says, yes, I've been to these places and I've played for these amount of people, but say they're not opening for the artist, they're just playing the artist's music, could you technically say you've rocked that crowd, or is it, you know, it's just a part of the artist's performance? No? I'm just being honest. Like,
no, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that to me is just like a lot of stuff that you see when it comes to people making CVs in general. Is always like, you trying to make yourself look good, even though it might be like you might have just poured some drinks at a friend's birthday party. Now you're a bartender. And shit. Like, you know, those type of things. Like, that's how I see it. So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's people out there doing that type of stuff. To me,
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, it's disingenuous if you're out there saying, if you're doing what you just described, if you're out there doing that, that's disingenuous. But I can't get mad at nobody doing it. If you're trying to get the bag, do what you gotta do to up your price or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You never consider doing nothing like that? Or were you in situations where you could do anything like that, make, like, I guess, enhance your DJ resume in any way by an event like that or act like that?
Yeah, I could say, because I mean, I do mention everything I've done if I ever have to tell a promoter. I do mention, even though I wasn't playing music myself or DJing myself, I do say, hey, I was Denzel Brown's DJ. We played at Soca vs. Dancehall. Soca vs. Dancehall is a huge stage, you know. I mean, I include everything. I
mean, as you should, because you did technically play there.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yep.
So, what's your favorite genre of music to play? And like, how would you describe your signature as a DJ? What makes you stand out amongst other DJs, for example?
Good question. What I always try to do is I try to be funny with the mixes. So in a technical sense, if I scratch something in, you know, it's either smooth or it's something like if you scratch something and you drop something in, it's funny, or like wordplay. I like to play with words. I mean, if you look at some of my mixes on my Instagram, on shameful plug,
plug yourself. That's the purpose of this. You're here to plug yourself. Exactly. Go ahead.
If you look at some of the videos on my Instagram,
it's DJ _Stov with an E. So the people know where to go. I'll try to help you shamelessly plug yourself, basically.
It's at DJ Stov, but the E at the end is a 3, and I'll explain why after this. But I just like to be different in the sense of how I mix music, and you understand when you see my videos on Instagram.
All right.
But going to the point is going to the subject of would you like to know why it's DJ Stov?
No, that's gonna be the next question. It's still on the list.
All right. So Stov is a nickname that my friends in MPC, like as far back as MPC, called me, because it was like the name Stov came out of a roast. It was really them clowning me. It was really them clowning me.
I was expecting a story with something along these lines. Like, it did not make much sense, but I mean, that's usually how nicknames go. Random stories.
And in recess, we used to play hacky sack at the D building, and I used to cut my hair even shorter than this.
I feel like I remember seeing y'all with the hacky sack.
I definitely remember that.
I cut my hair shorter even than this. And at a certain time, my friend Flam, he was like, yo, your head looking like a stove today, you know, like it's hot, like the sun beaming on it, man. And then that's how it's like, yeah, Stove, hey, Stove, what going on, Stove? And then that's how it came about. But
sounds like a nickname story.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
But the 3 came because when I was looking for names or like what to call myself as a DJ, like I did say I wanted to come out name Stove because that's familiar among my friend group already. But I looked online and there was already a DJ Stove with a normal E in the Philippines. And this man had like mad followers. The man had 5,000 followers. So I'm like, yo, I'm not going to like cop the man name. So how do I make it different? Oh, well, I just make the E at the end a 3. And that's how DJ Stove came, but with a little...
DJ Stov3.
Stov3. I was about to say...
People make that mistake. People make that mistake too. Like,
they always
when they read it's like...
6 lakh.
6 lakh, exactly.
I mean...
Exactly. 6 lakh.
He's still, in my mind, he's still 6 lakh. I don't care what he says.
It's not, though.
That's not how you spell black.
The 6 is a fancy B.
That's not how you spell black. That's a 6. I'm sorry.
Man. So, but
DJ Stove.
DJ Stove.
And Dutch people, they'll like to say stove. And they're like, ben jij DJ Stove? And I'm like, yeah, inderdaad, Stove.
Stove.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, the Dutch crazy. English is something else.
Yeah.
It's something
YouTube.
Else. YouTube. Oh my gosh.
Get you with a YouTube.
I had a question and I lost it.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I know.
I don't remember what it was.
I think I cut in between.
DJ Stove, Wreckless. You played there recently, right?
Yeah.
On Tell Sunday. Us about that.
It was a good experience, man. Like it was good seeing some familiar faces. I was playing after Atom, and I think it went rather well. I don't know when this episode is gonna come.
Should be Thursday. Today is Tuesday, so should be Thursday.
Well, for the people that are in Amsterdam or the area around Amsterdam, please come on Sunday because your boy playing again on Wreckless. It's gonna be a good time, so pull up.
Replacing you see, we do if we need Woods and stuff here on the podcast. We still getting the Wreckless plugs out.
Exactly.
Kana, there's our resident pluggers in terms of Curious and Wreckless, and there's just a plug for save time for later. But I assume, I don't know for a fact, but I assume on Monday at John Doe there's gonna be a Curious party this Monday, and like he already said, Sunday night they got Wreckless in where that place is again.
Brazil Bar, Amsterdam. Lights are playing.
So for all those people, make sure to come out. I'm sure Kana and Woods will be proud of me plugging their places and stuff. But since they're here, gotta do it for them.
Yeah.
All right. So you enjoyed playing at Wreckless. The vibe was good. The mix of the music and everything.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was.
Think of the size of the spot. What do you think of the size of the spot, the club, and the space itself?
I think it's intimate. It's not the biggest place there is, but whatever. I mean, it was fine for what they was trying to do there.
Okay.
It's good that it's a building name, Wreckless in Amsterdam, and I'm glad that I could just be a part of it for the beginning stages. Maybe 2 years it becomes the next encore, who knows, and then I come back, play again for y'all, and then it's like, it's just a good thing that's going on.
How did you get linked up with that? Like, did they reach out to you, or?
No, I was talking to Bean about it, and Bean was expressing that the date that I would play for, the 29th, that they needed people, and I'm like, first I suggested, send Atom over there, because I'm not sure if I can be there on the 29th. I could be there on the 5th. That was already confirmed before the 29th. But then as the days progressed, I'm like, I'm going to go to that event anyway to support Atom, and I was going to MC for him anyway. So if you guys have space, you might as well just put me on the lineup with him. And that's how I'm playing twice.
Do you have a preference for like DJing separately than MCing? Do you prefer to DJ and MC at the same time, or just DJ or just MC for people? Like, is there a preference, any combination of the two?
I don't really have a preference, no. It's just all about feeling, I would say. I could do both. We can do more if there's an MC next to me and I just focus on mixing. That's just how it is. But I can do both. I can do one or the other. I do prefer DJing over MCing because I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
And as a DJ, right? Are you the type of DJ to feed off of the crowd and like? Because sometimes you have those type of people that feed off the crowd, and then the energy just go back and forth between the crowd and the DJ, and you have those moments where the crowd is just not there.
Yeah.
Right? Like how do you deal with those moments?
Well, I think that's what it's all about. I think as a DJ you need to be able to read the crowd, for sure, at all times. You have these DJs that create a set and they think of it at home and they're like, man, this is really gonna blow them away. And then when they play it, it's not the reaction that they thought. So what I'm saying is you got to be able to deviate from what you set in your mind and play what they do like, because expectations don't always work out. So you need to be able to deviate. You need to be able to see, okay, if this doesn't work, then what if I play this? Maybe she gonna move if I play that.
Because basically the DJ's job is to control the energy in the room, or keep the people dancing, keep the people hyping, having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an art.
You ever have bad sets, you would say, where it's just like, okay, yes, I playing I go into all my big tunes and thing, and just the crowd just not feeling it tonight.
Absolutely.
Nobody dancing, just watch people staring at you like stone cold face. And
I've had that before. I've had looks like
dog, statues watching.
What the hell are you doing, dog?
And on a night like that, like, how do you,
because that have to affect your energy, right?
Like, of course, it's a part of it, man. It's a part of it. But you, like you say, like I'm saying, just don't give up when that happens. Think of what they might like to hear. I remember when going back to St. Martin and starting to DJ there. I'm currently filling in for a good friend of mine, DJ Mix. Shout out to DJ Mix at this spot called We Lounge in St. Martin. It's across from Three Amigos. And sometimes when Mix has another job or he's feeling sick or something, he lets me play for him, which I appreciate very much. And at the beginning, I was playing I was playing some Dutch tunes in between. People don't fuck with that too much over there again.
Not surprising.
Not surprising, exactly. Not surprising. And even though, like, sonically, I think some of these songs sound nice, and I do, and that is a conversation that I would like to have after. But even though some of these songs do sound nice sonically, people just like to dance what they relate to and what they know, and sometimes introducing a new vibe can be difficult. And that's what I want to say.
You touch on a very interesting topic, and it's something that I've heard, like, it's a debate kind of in DJ circles, almost like the role of breaking new songs. Like, with what you just touched on is one of those things that will lead you to see that as like the complaint a lot of artists have, but basically that is like, if it's an untested song, basically shit is not gonna get played. So it's like, where do you get the new shit played if you are artists, for people like myself who make music and whatnot?
Yes.
You just end up in a weird place with DJs where it's like they ain't want to play your shit, because if it's not already being played, if it's not something people familiar with, if it's not something that has a buzz around it, like you said, that it would get that reaction when people, like, as soon as the intro start, there's done familiarity with it, the people can recognize it. If you don't have that kind of play already, or I don't know, maybe a built-in fan base or whatever, do you feel DJs is a good place to go, a bad place to go
for artists that want to put their music out? It's a really good question. Okay, I'll tell you how.
Not just like for you personally, just like for other DJs, maybe conversations you've had, how they feel about playing new music or other artists' music and stuff like that. What's the advice to artists?
For me personally, I can tell you how I look at it. If an artist comes to me and the music that he plays is dope, I mean, it sounds good, I like it. if it's mixed well,
that's important.
Very important. If it's mixed well, and even better when it's mastered, I have no problem playing your shit. And I can't really talk for other DJs because I don't know how they look at it, but that's the case for me. And for me personally, I also like to play a lot of Samaritan artist music because what y'all doing out here, I think, is good. You know, an example is Gilda. He had put out his song "Dope." I liked it; it was dope. So, you know, like things like that.
Shout out to Gilda.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gilda.
Yeah.
And
is there like strategy you employ when it comes to playing it? Like, would it normally be like early in, if you play in a club, for example, early in the night when not so much people, they'll slide it in, or would you play it like mid in the party, like really hitting and the dance floor packed and stuff? Would you is it at that moment you trying to play it? Like, is there a philosophy behind when you play it?
Good question.
Or how you play it, or is it like, okay, this now is the local set, so now let me play a couple of them and we play, I don't know, whatever the local classics is. If you're on St. Martin, then
I don't see it like I don't plan it that way. It's just what comes to me at the time. Sometimes I see it in my list. And
so you would mix in a Gilda track right after Tory Lanez or like whatever established artist it might be, if the vibes fit. If
the songs match well, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've played that song like from the Champion Level with Amarte. I mean, I like that song a lot. I'd be playing it right in the middle of a set if I do soca or Afro. I'd be playing that song too because that thing matches well with a lot of songs.
Mixes well.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel you. Sure, artists probably, happy to hear that use some they could go to that actually would play the music and give it a chance and whatnot.
Another artist like that is D Colors. He does also make good music. That one, the two duo, the boy and the girl, they made that one song, How You Feel, Gold Lemonade. That's also, I
have no idea what you're talking about right
anyhow,
now. I'd be out to the loop.
That was also a good song, and I'd be playing that one too. So it's just, examples.
Well, I got a new project coming out. I'm gonna send you some music. See if you like anything. See if the mix is on point. If it's
is it some Tree Conscious Cats type of thing?
This is the Mistuh King LP coming. The Tree Conscious Cats that's kind of been put to the side for now. So
yeah, okay,
yeah. It's difficult working in groups. That's all I'm gonna say. It's difficult working in groups. So Mistuh King LP, that's coming soon.
All right, okay. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, so when we're done, I could play some tracks and stuff after I give you a little taste of what's to come and all of that. But where do we go from here? I'm trying to think on what else? What didn't we touch? What? Is there anything, because you were saying that, you was going through all of your highlights and stuff, is there anything particular that I might not have asked you that you had in mind that you would like to specifically let the people know of, something that you did or throughout your DJ career? I mean, like something that was among the proudest moments and all of that you meant that we might not have brought up organically.
Now that you mentioned it.
What's upcoming for DJ Stov? What's next? What's in the future?
Upcoming right now is just, just looking for places to play in St. Martin still. I'm still in that process. I do have friends that look out for me, like DJ Mix at We Lounge. Sometimes I played by Soggy Dollar Bar for Bossman, for Kurt. So it's like, it's really here and there type of stuff. I do hope they bring back more competitions though. Competitions I really enjoy doing. Like thinking of sets from before and being creative about it. I do like that. And it doesn't even have to be a competition in St. Martin. There are a few competitions worldwide. I'm not saying that I'm ready for those type of real turntablist things, but it's something that I do like to work forward to.
But go ahead.
No, this was aside from this topic, so go ahead and say what you was going to say.
The DJ competition you mentioned earlier, you say you came in third. I assume somebody from St. Martin had to be number one. So, like, you know what happened with that when they went on to, I think it was Bahamas and Barbados, or the other islands you say that they was going to compete at on a higher level? Like, did you know how, did you follow to see, like, how that
turned out? Yeah. Of course, because I'm genuinely interested. Represent? So DJ Dab came in first place. He's from the French side, and I think a few weeks after, then they had the grand final at Lotus, and DJ Dab won again. So DJ Dab is the Stov3 champion. Yeah,
that's good.
That's how it turned out.
Some people represent. Even though it's French side, you know, but they still are.
Your French side DJ's killing it though.
I don't know French side DJs like that. I don't know a whole lot of DJs in general.
Big Boss, Maestro.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I know those people.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the process of a new DJ, up and coming DJ, to find, like you say, you were still trying to find somewhere to play. Like, how is that process for a new up and coming DJ to find somewhere to play, a stable place?
Yeah, if you don't have a name yet.
Yeah.
Because you have to find somewhere to build that name, right? But how do you know?
House parties, I guess, like you.
House parties can help. In terms of St. Martin, it's a good question. It's also something that I'm still figuring out now. Basically, you just gotta start with
type of vibe, I guess. Who you know type of vibe as well. Like if you know some existing DJs that got the plug and they play in certain places, they probably put you on.
Networking is very important, but it's really a who you know type of vibe. Sometimes you just get lucky by asking a club owner, and even though the club owner might have his set of people already, if they're curious enough and they like what you do, maybe they put you on. But it's just about asking, it's just about sending emails, it's just about
putting yourself out there.
Putting yourself out there is almost the same thing as an artist, but it's just putting yourself out there and hoping that someone bites. In terms of residency, I don't think I've ever had a residency before. I wouldn't call it a rare residency. I've played for a few places a couple of times, but that's not an every week kind of thing. No, I never had one.
I assume that's something you would want to have, a residency.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
But you see yourself more focusing towards St. Martin, or, I mean, since that's where you live in our economy, that's where your main focus is in terms of trying to get spots there, or you traveling. I guess they just happen to, I assume you come Holland for other reasons, and it's just like, well, since I'm here, let me DJ and stuff like that.
That's exactly how it happened. But yes, I am focusing on St. Martin right now because I live there. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. And in terms of other things that I did, for a time being, I've been getting a lot of love from the Arubian community.
Really?
Curacao.
Antaman?
No, when I was here.
Oh, okay.
Because when I met Denzel, I met him because I had to play there at the party, and then he had to perform as an artist after. And then we linked up, and then sometimes when he got to play, sometimes when he got to perform as an artist at a spot, I'm like, well, why don't Stov open for y'all too to fill up the lineup, and that worked. So an example is 297 events at Club Lux in The Hague. I played there twice, and it was mad fun because Club Lux was a busy spot. I don't know why they closed down, because they did close down, and 297 events. I don't know where y'all at anymore, but it was a good time DJing for them. So then I could have also said, okay, I played in The Hague a couple of times.
And from that you get all the love from
the Ruben people.
From the Rubian and Curacao.
Yeah.
I know
that's
it's
cool.
like you had mentioned earlier that Siman is more like a mixed thing in terms of like genres and stuff. But do you have something that is like your favorite to play? I'm gonna not answer this now.
I gotta say, I I gotta say hip hop is my favorite to play. That's just the genre I like most to hear. Lately, I don't feel like I've been playing a lot of hip hop. I've just been playing a lot of soca dancehall because of We Lounge and stuff like that. Because a lot of locals come there, so that's what they want to hear. And to be honest, lately the hip hop scene hasn't been very interesting to me.
Yeah, this was a slow year. Like, I ain't even gonna lie, this was a slow year.
It wasn't for me this year. Looking forward to 2020.
Oh, a new decade. We gonna see which artists come up now.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of a good transition. I feel like we kind of covered most of what there is to cover with DJ. At least I can't think of any more questions to try to flush this topic out anymore, you know. So who's some of your favorite artists?
Some of my favorite artists?
You personally, you like to listen to?
Well, okay, so let me start by saying I listen to basically every genre. Okay, I'm not super fascinated with EDM or these house artists. I mean, they're nice to listen to, but I'm not like chasing them or anything. In terms of hip hop, favorite artists be J. Cole, Childish Gambino, Kid Cudi, Vic Mensa. Who else? Yeah, in terms of that conscious type of rap type of scene, I'm always interested.
I remember we talked about Vic Mensa,
Kendrick Lamar.
The autobiography album.
Yes.
I remember discussing that.
I remember. It
was a good album. And then I know what Vic Mensa been doing since then, but
Vic Mensa took a left turn, bro. Yeah, like out to that hip hop type of scene.
I don't know what he been doing since then. Like the next project he did, that Hooligans thing, I think it was called.
Yes.
Like I checked it out. It was like what, 7 songs, 8 songs maybe. It was like an EP account to me, and the song Kalanapin was cool, but it's like I don't know how I feel about endorsing songs like that. That's just about drugs and stuff like that. Like the name of the song is a prescription drug. I don't really fuck with prescription drugs like that. Yeah. I can't take a paracetamol. If I have a headache, I can't take a paracetamol. Like swallowing pills and me don't agree. So it's like.
But the overall vibe of that
project
album was punk rock, right? It was very like whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why in general, like some songs was okay. They had like 1 or 2 on it. Kalanapin was definitely like one of the better ones. But
have you listened? Because I remember the last time we was also talking about Kid Cudi, and you didn't know as much about.
Still don't know much about Kid Cudi.
Man, hey, anybody that's watching this, right? Put Mistuh King on Kid Cudi.
Yeah, but Kid Cudi not a rapper though. Like that's the thing. Like. He's just not a rapper. So, like, for me to check out his music, it really have to be on a day when I'm bored and I run out of all other hip-hop to potentially check out. So I'm be like, okay, you know what? Let me give this Kid Cudi kid a chance.
Kid Cudi is like his own genre of music, I feel like.
Like Tyler, the Creator, like, all these people, there's a lot of people I still have to check out. Kid Cudi is one of them. Tyler, the Creator, I haven't listened to his album, even though everybody been saying Igor was such a great album, but the reviews I was hearing as well is like, this is not a rap album.
Yeah.
So that already got me like, I know I probably won't enjoy
it. To be a rap album?
Rap is the best genre that was ever created.
But what is hip hop now? It's like it's not
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi is hip hop.
He's hip hop, but he's not rap.
Okay.
It's like the umbrella term that to me, like, R&B is still hip-hop-ish in my way. I know R&B is its own genre, but I mean, like, what I think of when I see hip-hop is, like, I put Kid Cudi under hip-hop, but what he did, the vocal style of what he does with his voice, it's not rapping. And
it's very melodic.
Rapping to me is the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
Like...
So if I ask you who's your favorite artist right now, or who are you paying attention to right now, or who are you impressed by right now?
My favorite artist is always difficult for me to say because he's on TDE, and the way that these people is operate, it just leaves you disappointed anytime any of them is your favorite artist, because it's like,
why is that? I mean,
you gonna hear shit for them for like 3-4 years until they get ready to drop again. Like, when the last time we heard from Kendrick, and Kendrick is the biggest star on that label, so they give him a little bit more leeway than other people in terms of the features that you could do outside of when it's like album time for you. But Absol's last project was 2016, I believe. Absol is my favorite rapper, but how can they say Absol is my favorite rapper when it's like, you did shit in 3 years, nigga? Like, put something out. And before that, it was another 2 or 3 years in between that project as well, whereas like, they do maybe 1 or 2 features. The way that TDE in general operates is like, they do a couple features, not much, around when the album coming out.
I tell you what.
The album comes out, and then they go on tour.
Yeah.
And then they take another year or year and a half to start working on the next album. That's kind of like the schedule.
You can still say he's your favorite though, based on what he has done.
Yeah, but it's just like, drop something, nigga.
I understand. I understand the frustration.
New music.
No, but I also understand your point, because when I was fiending for Cole music, because Cole also like takes his time on his projects. I just be like that
he
too.
He don't do no features. Only recently he actually figured out like, yo, I could give people songs. Like, I could do features for other people.
But don't you think that's funny how he had joke? I think when he said that in his song, you know, like the no features, it was kind of like comedic, you know, because now he's doing all these features, and these features doing fucking good.
Killing them. Killing the 6 Lack one.
Yeah,
indeed.
The one with Anderson .Paak, like a bunch of features he be doing is good.
The Dreamville project.
That's a really good.
Yeah, what do you think about that project?
I would say it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, overall, I would say it was pretty good. It's long.
For rap? Yeah. For rap,
it's long, like, so it's like, I probably didn't digest everything. Like, I probably missed out on some moments that, just because it was a long project, like, I didn't listen to every song. I just kind of picked out a couple that was like, okay, I like this. Let me just listen to this.
Yeah. But it's definitely a project you'd have to listen to tons of times to like really say you
that song from JID, like Down Bad, that shit goes that's one of the better ones. The one I got you long as you got me, the love song with Ty Dolla $ign and Dreezy. Like, I don't know where Dreezy came with that verse. That the best verse Dreezy spit in a long time. It was Dreezy? Yeah.
Dreezy,
yeah.
But I did you see the documentary on how they made that project? How they just had people in the studio, and people was jumping from studio to studio. Producers was jumping.
Cool. It was really cool.
That was really dope.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I just waited on that Black Hippie project though. Like, Run to the Dreamers was cool, but if you get that Black Hippie project, Kendrick, Absol, J-Rock, Schoolboy Q, and potentially you're probably gonna have SZA and the rest of the later people who's Sir and Zakari and Isaiah Rashad, Reason. They're probably gonna make appearances on the project as well.
Yeah. But speaking of which, J-Rock, J-Rock is the last album from TDE that I really paid attention to. I like the Redemption album from J-Rock. Have you heard that?
Q dropped this year and it was disappointing.
Oh yeah, the one that goes like the floating single, the like
Crash Talk.
Floating. Yeah,
like,
yeah, that one.
Num Juice and stuff like.
Yeah.
He dropped, but that was disappointing. To me, the last thing I enjoyed from TDE was Sir. Sir dropped this year, and Sir had a really good album this year. It's R&B, but Sir had a really good album this year.
I gotta listen to it still, to be honest.
Quick question, you know, like this could be the topic of the conversation. Give it a little bit more of a focus since this is the last day of 2019. What's some moments that you can look back on from the decade, from the year? I don't know if you want to do the whole decade, but like just some things that you can think of. Don't necessarily have to be music related, but I mean highlights of the year for you.
Highlights of the year for me. Pooh. Man, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now, but the first thing I could think of is just for me personally, right? Moving back to St. Martin after you lived here for 6 years takes an adjustment period.
Because you already become like Dutch eyes or whatever the word would be. So then to readjust. Yeah, Dutchified, I guess.
Dutchified. Because things go different in both places. I mean, like the concept of time and stuff like that. That was very frustrating.
From a place.
For me, when coming back, but I do remember the moment when I finally felt like, oh, okay, I'm back now, and I get it again. You know, like
you readjusted.
I readjusted.
Reacclimated
to it, and that was a good feeling. I was like talking to my dad about it, and he's like, you shouldn't stress out. If you stress out about all these things, you're gonna drive yourself insane. So I was like, boy, yeah, you're right.
I just think about that sometimes. Like, it's been a long time for me. It's been a long time since I've been back, like 5 years, I think. Maybe 2015 I think that was the last time I was back in St. Martin.
What was the reason?
At that time, Lee's vacation. It was just, the reason that I haven't been back in so long.
That you haven't been back.
Nothing in particular, really. Like, there is opportunities. Like, if I wanted to go back, my mother would more than likely send me a ticket or send me some money for a ticket, probably. But that's kind of in a way why I haven't been back, because I want to be back on my own money. And I don't know, I just feel like I ain't accomplished nothing. So it's like, I haven't been working the hardest in Holland, if I'm completely honest. So it's like, I ain't did nothing, so why am I taking a vacation? That's kind of like...
vacation is not deserved in a sense.
Yeah, I ain't did shit yet. Like,
okay, but maybe you can consider it in a way like you've been away from your mother for quite some time too, and it would be an award for her, from her perspective, to see you, because has she been up here? Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then it's fine.
She just can't come up like once or twice, I think.
Okay.
But she's not a fan of the cold and all of that. She's not a fan of 9 hours on the flight and stuff. She's did it, but she's not a fan of it for sure. So that's not something she can do like regularly. She likes travel, but she just not coming over here like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I
get your point of view. But what if you just saw coming back to St. Martin just to remotivate yourself, because you're going to be there on vacation. You're going to come back here just to remotivate yourself to keep going here. You don't look at it as a reward for doing nothing, but more like just checking in. Maybe have you considered looking at that?
I was talking to somebody recently, and they were saying more or less the same thing. That I overthinking it in a way, and I just need to go back.
Right.
Like,
just to be back.
Just to check in.
But I don't know. I'll see in time. Rashid, when the last time you was on St. Martin?
Last year, if I'm not mistaken.
I've
been back a few times, but it always feels good to be back, if I'm honest. It always does. And I got younger siblings as well that I be missing, so.
Yeah.
Like, early on, I definitely went back more. Like, when I first came back in the summer, I went back the first year. I think I went back maybe the year after that as well and stuff. So then it was like, all right, cool. I went back. Let's do other things instead of just going back to that and everything. Not to say like I'm going to travel other places and nothing, because I have none or very little interest in going to any other European country. Like, I've been to France, and that was it. And that was just because it was like kind of a group trip where the homies was like, yo, so for New Year's or Christmas a couple of years back, and like, let's go France. And they're like, all right, cool. Y'all book the Airbnb and the bus tickets and everything. Like, I don't like traveling. Like, to me, traveling is work. It's not fun because of everything that's required to go into it. There's like the preparation and the planning, and I don't like. I'm not a planning person.
Okay.
Interesting that you say that though, because everybody just be like, yeah, you got a chance while you're up here to travel, and like travel is in everybody's mind except my own.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, yeah, you could travel there, you could travel here, but what if I don't want to?
Like, the only places that I want to travel here is Africa. Like, I have no interest in seeing any European countries, really. It's like, my whole life I've been growing up and learning the European story and that side of things. It's like I would like to see the other side of things more or less. And
interesting. That's a good one, actually.
Yeah, and I know it's cheaper to go. If I wanted to go to different countries in Africa from here, it would be cheaper than like if I was on traveling from St. Martin. So like it would still be beneficial to take advantage of being in Europe to go Africa instead of just seeing Europe. But
I tell you what, like.
No, not really interested in Asia like that. Maybe South America in certain places.
I went back to St. Martin, so in terms of traveling, I mean, I could have had my chance the whole 6 years I was here, but I only went to Germany, Belgium, and Turkey. And now,
Belgium.
and
Turkey. How was Turkey? That's a little further away.
Turkey is dope. I went to a more touristic type of place, Bodrum. It's very hot, but I went to go see my aunt. She happens to live there.
Okay, true.
But what I was saying is, I do regret not traveling more when I was here. That's the truth.
So you went back, and when you went back, you get the desire to travel?
No, I always made an excuse not to travel.
Oh,
that was the issue. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see these places the whole time, but it's either like. Maybe I haven't saved enough money, or nobody wants to go with me, or I was only making excuses. Right. So, for students living here, while you're here, travel, please, because you might regret it later.
Especially if you want to,
Especially if you want to, yeah.
So close, and because it's so close, it's a lot cheaper than when you in St. Martin. So you definitely got to take advantage of that opportunity.
The UK might be the only place that I still want to go to. Like in terms of European countries.
Why is that?
Just because like I like certain things that come with being in Holland then, because I can't really see Europe because I've been that many places. Like there are benefits to the fact that things run on time, and when you look at the schedule for something, it like things happen on time. It's appreciated that things run the way they're supposed to run to a certain degree. Like, I know you're complaining about NS. NS is a whole other thing. NS is always going to be NS. But in general, things run on time. There's good internet. There's
public transportation.
Yeah, there's shit like that I enjoy about Europe, but I hate Dutch. I hate
the language itself?
Yes, I hate Dutch.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the language. I went to Dutch school all my life. Like, the happiest I was when I switched from Dutch studies. Like, I wish I had did it earlier, but I just was so kind of caught up in the idea that I went to Dutch schools. I went Hillside, I went MPC. I'm supposed to do a Dutch study. Like, the best thing I ever did was did an English study, and I was so much happier in that study than I ever was in any of the Dutch studies I did in this country. Because it's like I can actually talk to I actually want to talk to classmates because we speak in a language that I want to speak. Like, it's so much more of an extra. It's so, at least for me then, it was so much more of an extra like headache in a way to not be able to. I pride myself on being articulate, being eloquent, being able to use words well. Like, it's something I enjoy. It's a fact that it's, like I said, I pride myself on it. If I can't do that same thing in Dutch because I can't do it, I'm just not as articulate. I have to stop and think, and there's a lot more fumbling for the word and forgetting a word and stuff because it's not the language I'm used to talking, that I feel stupid and I don't want to talk anymore. So it's like I'm not the same person to engage with, or it's like I have a different personality in Dutch, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't enjoy it. Like, it's not me, I feel like.
Understand. But I mean, like, the more you do it, the more natural it feels. Like, yeah, I mean, at this point, it might not be the case for you. 8
years and stuff. So it's like, I work, I have to speak Dutch with colleagues and all of these types of things. So it's like, I do it, but I still don't ever enjoy it. At work, I speak to more of the international people because they get to speak English. Like, all the Surinamese people and things, if they talk to me, I respond and I answer, but I don't initiate conversation with most of the people there because I gotta speak Dutch. I don't want to speak the language. I never enjoyed the language. I'm sure that's a big reason why my grades and shit was always so terrible as well, because engaging with a topic is so much less interesting when it's like, on top of the fact that, like, in high school, I mean, engaging with a topic that you might not be that interested is even less interesting if it's in a language being taught to you that you have absolutely no interest in hearing or learning and speaking. Like scheikunde, natuurkunde, I'm so much more interested in physics than I am in natuurkunde, and it's the same fucking thing. But just the fact that you change the language, like the amount of documentaries and stuff that I watch on topics of physics and chemistry and different science related shit, like I had no interest to actually do this while I was in school, because a big part of that for me was the language.
Okay. Now, what is it? Okay, I know in terms of like vocabulary and stuff like that, you'd obviously prefer English because you know the language well and stuff. But what is it really about the Dutch language
my Dutch
in particular?
Will never be as good as my English is.
That's no, but what is it about the Dutch in particular? Like how it sounds? That is like.
It's not even necessarily about Dutch in particular. It's the fact that it's a foreign language. It's the fact that my Dutch, my level of being able to speak Dutch will never be as good as my speaking English. If my Dutch, like, or I'd have to put a significant more amount of time in speaking a language that I don't want to speak to get it to the level where it's equally or comparable and stuff, as well as having Dutch friends. And like there's lots of things about Dutch that I don't want to engage with that deeply. The link up keeps me around Sima and people speaking English, doing things I enjoy.
Okay, I get that. I feel that.
Alright, I think we should start wrapping up this episode. That was just a long rant. I mean, we're here for an hour and 20 minutes. We normally try to keep it within like an hour and a half, unless you have something that you'd like to leave with the people and stuff. Some messages, last messages, let them know what's going on with Stov in the future.
I mean, besides coming on Sunday at Wreckless, I'm pretty satisfied with how it went. I had a really good time. How did you guys feel about it?
I mean, it was a cool episode. It was a little different with just the three of us here, like a little quieter than I feel probably other link up episodes maybe when we got the full house. But I think it was good. It was an episode that had to happen. Like I said early on in the episode, it's something that we've been planning for a while. I'm glad it finally happened, that it came true. So that was definitely great.
Alright then, well, by the time y'all see this, Happy New Year 2020.
Indeed, yeah. True.
And,
all the best for the new decade.
Is that?
Alright, so before we go, I'm gonna just say stay tuned. Make sure to be on the lookout for the Mistuh King LP. It's coming. I still haven't submitted it yet. But it's coming. Like I was doing it last night, but then I realized like I gotta type out lyrics and stuff still. And I gotta try to see where I could find some of the verses. Like, did I type this on my phone? Did I type it on a computer? I know I didn't write it, but or just trying to transcribe all of it. And I was lazy last night, but or I could submit it without the lyrics. I mean, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I don't know. I think I'm gonna still do it. I don't know. We'll find out after this podcast, but that's some other shit just for like me personally. But alright, people. We'll see y'all the next time we link up.
Yes.